to Jurassic Park.
Fire Festival, DashCon, the Willy Wonka Experience, the Detroit Bridgerton Ball, and now we have A Million Lives Book Festival. Hello everyone and welcome back. Over the past few years, book events have evolved from simple signings at local bookstores to full-scale festivals and fantasy-themed balls. Fueled by the rise of BookTok and Bookstagram, readers and authors alike have embraced the magic of immersive literary experiences. And I really want to go to some. I've actually not been to any. Think masquerade balls inspired by romancing novels, cosplay meetups, and weekend-long conventions packed with panels, merch, I don't know, photo opportunities, but with all that hype comes very high expectations. And as we're about to discover, once again, not every event delivers. And this time, it was the Million Lives Book Festival. I was about to do a pun that was like, 1 million lives, but literally everyone's done it. And also, like, I don't really... People's livelihoods are at stake here. Today, we're taking a closer look at what was supposed to be an amazing book event filled with panels, a chance to meet your favorite authors, and a fantasy-themed ball to top off a brilliant weekend. But what actually happened on that weekend in May was a total disaster. The Million Lives Book Festival was put on by Archer Fantasy Events at the Baltimore Convention Center literally a couple weeks ago, so May of this year, 2025. Let me read you what the website says about this festival. A Million Lives Book Festival is the perfect event to make more bookish friends. This event will include a vendor hall, panels, a content creation room, fandom cosplay meetups, a cosplay competition, and a ball. So there's a few different ticket options depending on what you wanted to do and like what you wanted to attend. Okay, so we've got the page turner for $50. This ticket includes access to our vendor hall, cosplay meetups, and content creation room. Only on May the 3rd, which is a Saturday, I'm sure. May the 3rd is a Saturday, okay. Next, we have Cloud Walker, which is $150. This ticket includes access to our vendor hall, cosplay meetups, panels, event swag bags. The panels and the swag bag are the new thing on this $150, and the content creation room, also on May the 2nd and the 3rd, so both days. Then we've got the Dream Makeup, which is the top tier, so the most expensive one, $250. This ticket includes access to our vendor hall, cosplay meetups, panels, event swag bag, and content creation room on May the 2nd and 3rd, so both days, and access to our Lavender romance ball. Content creation room, what the hell is a content creation room? Also, the Lavender Ball, remember that for later. Because if you're just learning about this book event now, you most certainly have seen TikToks or videos of that disappointing ball. Also on the website, we have the schedule. Okay, so on Friday, 2nd of May, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. is registration. And then you've got from 10 a.m. vendor hall is open. I'm guessing the 8 a.m. is more for, is that for registration for attendees or just for authors and vendors? At 11 a.m. you've got an Akatar cosplay meetup. 12 to 1 is a whole hour lunch break. And then during this time, we've also got things like the panels. So 1 p.m. we've got Writing Diversity by BIPOC room. 1:30, okay, it's a Cruel Prince cosplay meetup. So at 2 p.m, Bookish Song Collective Performance. 3:30, World Building Panel. And then we've got the Saturday the 3rd, the vendor and the content creation room is open from 9 a.m. till 12. 9:30 is a cosplay competition. That's quite early in the day, isn't it, to do a competition? I don't know. So at 10 a.m, you've got the morning panels. Then at 11 a.m, you've got the Bookish Song Collective performance, not the Bookish Song Collective, okay. Another lunch break at 12 till 1. Again, the vendor hall is open from 1 till 3. And the content creation room. Remember that, the content creation room is open on both days. Then at 2 p.m, you've got the afternoon panels, and the Lavender Ball is 7 till 11. There's also a whole list of panels and the panelists. So you've got the Journey of Being an Independent Author, Writing Diversity BIPOC, World Building Workshop, Writing Diversity LGBTQ, LGBT, Writing diversity. LGBTQTA+. Did someone who has no idea about the diversity community write this? Yes, probably. Crafting compelling characters and the art of voice, which I believe is the narrator panel. As you can see from this sitemap, there is 101, is that right? No. 101 tables. On paper, this looks like a really promising event, but to have all those tables make money or even break even, surely you would need to have sold thousands of tickets and have a lot of people attending. Spoiler alert, Grace, the organizer, kept telling everyone that they'd sold 500 tickets. 500, right? And even that was reaching. It's packed with amazing authors, but where the fuck are the people? And actually 500 people sounds like a lot, but it really isn't a lot. And attending book events is expensive. Not only have you got travel and accommodation, you then got to pay for extra luggage if you're bringing like your own table and like your setup, or having books shipped to the venue to sell, food to eat all weekend. What if you need a dog sitter, a babysitter? Like, it all adds up. Apparently, behind the scenes communication from the organizer was spotty at best. The featured artists weren't given their spotlight or featured posts over on social media like the organizer promised. There were no pre-orders, nothing about hotels, what to bring, what's already there. We'll take a look at Percy's TikTok documenting the events from the very beginning in a moment, but they say it all started 18 months ago in February of 2024 when authors put down their table fee of $150. Some authors even paid extra to sponsor the event and donate like merch and books to the swag bags.
I'm Percy J, and I attended A Million Lives Book Festival in Baltimore. Because this story starts 18 months ago, because that's when we all put our deposits down. So I put down my $150 table fee back in February of 2024. I am not from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm from Texas. Which, yes, besties, I flew out for this. And honestly, I was like, the table fee is $150, why not? I'm currently pregnant with twins. I planned my pregnancy around this event like a clown. I scheduled my uncle-in-law's funeral around this event. I even paid extra to sponsor this event. And let's get into that, shall we? Because you know I brought the receipts, girl. Peep the date. After Christmas of 2024, I reached out to Archer Fantasy Events to sponsor A Million Lives. I ended up picking the highest tier of sponsorship because I was like, $250, why not? It's a good deal. So I was supposed to get my logo on the website, an author takeover day in the Facebook group, an author focus day with several posts about me and my books on social media, a medium window or floor decal, where those were supposed to go, I don't know, and my logo on the tote bag. Now, I have been to other events before where I've seen events do all of these things for other people. So I sent them all of my things, my headshots, my covers, my logo, all that stuff. And on January 20th, they received my $250.
So this email that Percy got, thank you for choosing to sponsor A Million Lives Book Festival. Here are the options you selected on the form. So you've got Book Lover, which is free, donating items for VIP bags, so art, prints, bookmarks, just like Percy just said. Bookworm is $100, logo on a website, author takeover day in Facebook group, author focus day with several posts about you and your books on social media, and small window or floor decal. We'll look at more footage from the convention center, but there's no windows, is there, in the convention hall? It was just like a warehouse. That's what it looked like, but okay. But she went for Book Wyvern, so the $250. So I guess she's paid $250 and already she's paid £150 for her table. She's already out quite a lot of money. After their emails, Percy says that she basically heard nothing back from Archer Fantasy Events or Grace herself, and she also never got her takeover day in the Facebook group or was able to promote her books on any of the socials.
But after that email exchange, it's pretty much crickets. I did not, in fact, get my author takeover day in the Facebook group. There was not a single post about me or my books on Archer Management socials. And we also never got confirmation for how many items we needed to bring for the VIP swag bags. About 2 weeks before the event, I actually went on the event's website to see what I was actually, getting into. And I started counting the number of authors, vendors, and narrators that were actually coming to the event. It was slated at somewhere around 120. Those kind of numbers are huge.
Turns out there were posts made in December 2024 and February advertising tickets at 50% off. And I've got screenshots because they're still on the social media. They're still on Instagram. It's crazy. Many of the authors were supposedly meant to be put up at the Hilton, which is the hotel that kind of connects to the convention center. And that makes sense because if you're working that festival, it's good to kind of be close to your room. It's easy to get like things set up and wheel your suitcases backwards and forwards with all your like merch and your books and things. So the featured artists or anyone who was paid to be there got their rooms paid for by Archer Fantasy Events. However, only a few days before the event was meant to take place, the featured authors who were meant to be staying at the Hilton got an email saying that the rep that the event organizer, so Grace, had been corresponding with hadn't been getting back to them over the last week. That's cutting it a bit fine. This should have been sorted months ago. Literally like the minute you advertise this event, that should have been sorted. So because bookings couldn't be confirmed, the featured artists were then moved to a different hotel further away. Apparently it was just across the road, but this road is like a busy road. It's not quick and easy. And it's not ideal if you're carrying suitcases full of heavy books.
So this began 18 months ago. I was emailed and asked to be a featured author for 1 Million Lives. And I thought, great, this will be wonderful. I thanked her for the opportunity. I accepted the invitation. We were supposed to be put up in a Hilton. That was where rooms are. It's connected to the what is called convention center. We were all supposed to be in there, all the featured authors. In February, I confirmed, the hotel's good, right? Because I'm about to buy a plane ticket. So we do that. This is the email we get. Do you see 4 days ago up there? 4 days ago. Right now, it's almost midnight of May 4th. So like, we go from the Hilton to the Days Inn. And I'm going to be rooming with my bestie Percy, who's pregnant with twins. We're not in the same building anymore of the convention center. So I'm like, what in the
So they moved to the Days Inn, and I've not stayed at one before. I actually did live in Baltimore for like 4 months. I studied abroad there. I don't remember. I never had to stay at the Days Inn, but I've heard from multiple videos that it's not, at least this one, isn't that nice. I also saw multiple mentions of black mold, scratched furniture. There were no ramps for wheelchairs or disabled people, suitcases at this hotel, which is all pretty unacceptable. And honestly, it just keeps getting worse. So you'd think now that it's all sorted. They're at this other hotel. It's not ideal, but they're there. They get to the Days Inn, and the event coordinator, Grace's credit card, doesn't go through.
So I Google it before we get there. It's across the street. I'm like, this isn't too bad. I can work with that. I'm just going to carry all the bags because I'm not letting Percy, the Beast with 3 Hearts, carry everything. So we go to check-in. I pay for my separate early check-in, and her credit card doesn't go through. So I email her. I call her on Instagram. She tells me her identity was stolen, so they froze all of her accounts. 4 days ago, you switched us to this hotel, and there was nothing of this. And your girl's a sickly bitch, so I still have corporate. You know what my corporate is? I was a credit analyst, and I'm a compliance officer. When your credit gets stolen, they freeze your credit bureaus. You still have access to your money. You can still live your life. So the front desk guy, Santiago, sweetest human. He lets me go in my room and everything. He's like, the card won't go through. And I'm like, dude, I will. If you need me to pay for it, I'm paying for it because I need a room. I haven't slept yet. I don't care. I'm not giving up that room. You want me to pay for it? And he's like, no, it's okay. We'll get it straightened out with her. I'm like, okay. I called her. I messaged her. She's getting straightened out with her bank. She's going to call you back. 2 hours later. I go back downstairs because I DoorDash stuff. She has not called the front desk. I talk to Santiago again. And I'm like, hey, did she call you? No call. I'm like, wow, that's sketchy. You're not going to get this all set up. So I tell Santiago that you might want to call her because there's a bunch of other authors going to be coming here. It's going to have the same issue. And it's not going to be it's not just going to be me. It's going to be a bunch of us here. And we're all not going to have the hotel deal. So call her. On the second day of the signing, she comes up to me like just, hey, I know this is going to be really unprofessional. My accounts are frozen. And can you pay for your hotel? So I kind of side eye her. And I'm like, and we're getting paid back for this. And we were paid to be here. So like our feature fee, like our appearance fee. And the hotel, and you're gonna pay that back to us immediately, right? And she's like, yeah. Spoiler alert, I left it under her, and they can chase her for the money because I'm already out the money that she paid us, and I'm not gonna put myself also in debt under hotel room.
But you know what's funny? I saw a TikTok from Sword Spouse who was hired to be there and was also promised lodgings at this event. Well, apparently, according to the hotel, the event pulled their card. So which is it? You pulled your card or your accounts were frozen because of fraud?
So not only was I at the A Million Lives Festival, I was hired to be there. So I was contracted to be there, like I said, and one of the things that was specified in my contract was that the event organizers would be providing lodgings for me, and that we would be given the confirmation numbers for them 60 days ahead of time, that sort of thing. Okay, so not only were the plans changed last minute, it was literally like a couple hours before we were supposed to check in. So not only was that a breach of contract in that specific instance, but also they were supposed to cover my lodgings. And the first night that I stayed at the hotel, checked in, everything was mostly fine. The next day, my room key broke, and I go down to the front desk, and the guy at the front desk says, "Hey, I just need you to know that the event pulled their card. So this is on you now." So that left me stranded. So I go ahead and I put my card on file. Huge mistake, because I was staying with somebody. We were sharing one room. The person I was staying with got charged $120, and I got charged $539. We were there for 2 nights. We were supposed to be there for 3 nights. That's what was stated when we were contacting the event organizer. However, obviously after they pulled their card, we fucked off pretty much as soon as we could. So we checked out after the second night in the morning. Pretty much first thing in the morning did we check out, and the hotel charged us for the full duration of the stay that we did not book, that we did not initially even have our cards on file for. We have been going back and forth between the event organizers, the credit card companies, and the hotel trying to get these charges disputed, because not only were we not paid for being there when we should have been paid for being there, as we were contracted to be there and be paid for it, but also our lodgings weren't covered, as was also contracted. So we didn't make any money. In fact, the two of us put together lost $700, which is very great and fun.
On the actual day of the event, the authors packed up their stuff to take to the convention center to get set up, but was there signage? Was there event signage in sight? A welcoming banner for authors and guests? What about a measly balloon in sight? Nope, nothing. Was Grace or anyone from Arch Fancy Events there to help? Also no. Apparently the security at the Baltimore Convention Center came to their rescue and helped direct them to the right place instead. And actually the security will come to their rescue again later on.
We're told we can set up at 7, which is great. I'm always early there for setup. So my pregnant friend, the beast with 3 hearts, Percy, I tell her to stay there. I tell her to stay in the hotel room. I'm going to go there first. I'm going to figure out where her stuff is so that she's not wandering around while we're trying to figure out where we got to go for check. So I grab my 2 heavy-ass rolling suitcases, and I go out there. I cross the street. I go to where we were specified to go. Like, this is where we're going to do entrance. This is what was put in the Discord, the magical Discord I just got the day before. I go to the entrance on Sharp Street. It is locked. There is nothing there. I message Grace, "Hey, there's nothing here and this is locked, and I am outside." She's not even at the event center, and this is after 7, we're just starting up. And she's like, "Oh, this is where the attendees will be coming in, not for you guys." And she proceeds to give me copy paste, because she's driving, the loading dock of how to get in there. Every other event I've gone to has had very clear instructions and maps on how to get to the loading dock and how to do all of that. Circle back 45 minutes later, back to the same spot I was at to begin with, Sharp Street. The security guards are now there, and it's now open. They can't let me in yet because there's only one security guard there, and we can't go to the stuff. And walking to the dock is going to take the 15 minutes it's going to take for the place to be open at 8 anyway. So the security guard was kind enough to let me leave the bags there, and I went back to the hotel to get Percy J. We got the other bags. We came back down, and then we were able to just walk into the space and then get to the actual setup.
The table plan that we looked at earlier on with all those rows, well, apparently it didn't end up looking like that on the day. Plus, authors who thought they knew their table numbers were either moved or someone else entirely was set up in that space, which made it really confusing for the readers who were trying to find their favorite authors. There is months of advertising beforehand where authors will let their readers know where they're going to be, like their table number, but now like that's all just gone to pot.
So the original map was kicked out the window, and I was on the same spot because we were put on the edge as allegedly problem children. So because we're loud and disruptive and inappropriate, and we need to be hidden on the side, not be an embarrassment. But I was a featured author. She literally, I did not apply to this event. She invited me. And this is all alleged because I did not hear it with my own ear holes. But so we come in. The map is trash. Like we're just everywhere now. Like our trouble row is still trouble row, but like everyone else, she allegedly said to just take whatever blank table. Now, as an author, we prep for these events. We have, like, we do events for our readers, and we show that, hey, we're at this table. This is where to find me. There's a bunch of lead up going to these events that we have, and now if our readers try to go to the table that we were at, they're not going to find us. It's confusing. They have to hunt through the 100 people to figure out where you are.
So we're bopping around the streets of Baltimore at 7 a.m. with these suitcases full of like 70-pound books. Nary an instruction in sight. There's no signs, no streamers or balloons saying, hey, book festival this away. Don't know where the event organizer is. But security came in clutch and helped us navigate the convention center. So this was the original author, vendor, narrator setup. I was number 2 over here, but when we got into the convention center, this was not the setup. Some of you who may have been to conventions before see this setup and go, hold up, I don't know if that's gonna fly with fire code. And guess what? This wasn't gonna fly with fire code. So this was all completely different. Instead of having 2 big rows and then a bunch of like other rows like this, it was all just up and down horizontal, which completely messed up everybody's table setup. No one knew where they were going. It was absolute chaos.
The event finally opens. The authors are waiting for the book lovers to enter. And apparently just a handful of people walk in.
So the vendor hall opened at 10 a.m. and the attendees started rolling in. But keep in mind, this is Friday, so this is a VIP only event. So only the people who paid for either the Cloud Walker or the Dream Walkers could come to this event. Y'all, there were maybe 30 people.
On the schedule, it mentioned that there was a lunch break for an hour, and instead of organisers using a PA or something professional to announce that there's going to be a lunch break, they just walk in to the convention centre and screamed that it was lunchtime. This is just so unprofessional, it's crazy. And according to Percy, they didn't even lock the convention centre doors. So literally, anyone could have just like walked in and stolen all their fucking stuff. Like, that's outrageous.
We had our lunch break at noon, and to announce the lunch break, the event organizer walked into the event hall and just screamed that we're taking a lunch break. No bullhorn, no PA system, just everybody get out. But also, here's the tea. The event hall wasn't locked for lunch break. People didn't want to abandon their tables if people were still there.
Remember the swag bags you got depending on the ticket you bought? You know, the ones authors donated items to? Well, apparently the convention centre threw them away. However, according to Brandy Reads Books on TikTok, the convention centre had literally no idea that merchandise, water and snacks had been shipped and lost. Brandy even has a screenshot from Christine, who works at the convention centre as the Director of Sales, Services and Marketing, saying so.
We were told they lost the books, they lost the water, they lost the snacks, they lost the VIP bags. Well, we had somebody email somebody from the convention center, and they responded and said that they were not notified and had no idea that anything was lost by their center. They were never told that anything was shipped or lost by them. So it's one issue after another.
So this email says, "Hi Lara, I'm so sorry you had an unpleasant experience at this event. I can tell you that we didn't receive information from the event organizer about missing boxes from the event. I checked in multiple times with show management and heard nothing but positive comments about how things were going on site. Directional signage is absolutely allowed to be placed throughout the public spaces to help guide attendees as long as it is provided by the event. We provide easels complimentary for them to be placed on if needed." Where'd it all go? Someone needs to check like Vinted or eBay, because like it's got to be somewhere. As I was watching Percy's video, she shared this screenshot of what it looked like when you came into the convention center hall upstairs before coming down to the actual book festival. Please Please look at this. Oh my God, it's crazy. It's so bad. She even said that the convention center provided that signage. It wasn't even made by the events company. What the fuck? Okay, so as far as we can see, that was all on Friday. Now it's time to see what Saturday brings. And Friday was a VIP ticket holders only, which might have been why it was so quiet. There's another thing many authors were not aware of. So Saturday is general admission. So this day should be better, right? Right? They did manage, though, to put up another sign in the hall telling people where to go. Unfortunately, and this is really sad, the content creation room was unavailable on this day due to technical difficulties. So that's sad news, especially if you just spent money to get the ticket that covers the content creation room. Literally no one knew why. I couldn't find anything about actually why, apart from technical difficulties or even what that room was for. They were just told it was unavailable. So now not only do you not have your swag bag, you also can't use the content creation room. So the ticket you paid for with all these perks, literally no point. At least the attendance went up though, but still not quite 500 people. It's been described as maybe 2 more handfuls or just doubling the amount of attendees from the first day. Selena Cuccio, I'm so sorry if I butchered your name, was another author who attended. They were hired as the bookstore for the event. They go on to tell us how Grace would just keep taking books from the table, from the store, for the missing swag bags. Then they had people coming up to the table, just take books for free. Because that's what Grace had told them. Just take a book. And featured influencers that attended the event were told they could take 2 books, which Selena did end up confirming with Grace. And because of this, Selena alone is owed $1,800.
But on day 2, I come in and she's walking away with an armful of stock from my author booth and vendor booth, saying that the VIP bags were stolen by the convention center, which means all VIP guests didn't receive anything. So she was taking stock from my booth and she's like, oh, I'll reimburse you for them. But she just walked away with stock from my booth, meaning I couldn't sell those books. And then people started showing up at my booth saying that they were informed that they could just take a book for free from my booth. No warning or anything from Grace about this. They just took a book. And all of these attendees were so sweet and they felt so uncomfortable doing so, but they were scammed too. So I'm like, no, take a book. You at least deserve to get something out of this. Later on in the day, people started showing up saying that they were featured influencers and everything. And because of all the events, they were told they could take 2 books. And I verified this and they were told that they could take 2 books. So again, I gave personal books, my own personal series of books, because that's what these people wanted, and again they were scammed, and so I wanted to make sure that they were taken care of, at least because at the end of the day these attendees paid money to be here to see all of us authors, and I was like, I will take the hit if it means that these people could at least have a good experience. So I did everything I could to keep all of the bad shit that was happening away from the attendees. As of right now, she owes me $1,800, but instead she took all the books that she stole from me, set them out on a table at the ball, if you can even call the Lavender ball a ball, and told everybody to just have a free-for-all. That show, we were promised so much. We were promised 500 to 600 attendees. I was promised money. I was promised so much, and none of us got it. I just kept getting excuse after excuse about being scammed. Her identity stolen twice in 2 months, because that happens. And then she was also using her cheating husband as an excuse for a lot of things.
One of the big draws for people at book conventions are the panels, but even that was a mess. Hardly anyone attended these, and apparently those who didn't have chairs to sit on, and this actually happened at the narrators panel. Carmen Chantel, who is an audiobook narrator, moderated the narrator panel and tried to make the best out of a bad situation.
I volunteered to assist in any way that I could as a narrator, possibly, hopefully with narrator panels or narrator live readings, several months before the event. Just a couple weeks before the event, there was a follow-up email that my event PA, Britt, sent.
Okay, so email says, good afternoon, my name is Brittany, I'm Carmen's PA. I just wanted to get some information for the next weekend. so we're properly prepared. Someone is trying to be prepared at least. Do you have a detailed schedule of events to include which panels Carmen is on? Do you have prepared questions for the narrator panel available? Carmen is also interested in helping with the narrator panel if you need any assistance. See, assistance, not having to run the whole bloody thing. That's not what she's paid for, or paid at all, to be fair.
At the event on day 1, I saw the organizer and I said, hey, just following up on that, can you tell me, is there going to be a narrator panel, number 1, and number 2, can I moderate it, or how can I help? At that time, I was told, this was day 1 of the event, that yes, I could help, and yes, I would be able to moderate. Half an hour before the narrator panel was going to happen, I asked my PA and a narrator friend of mine if they could ask the organizer if I could make an announcement, because I had not actually seen anybody leaving for other panels, to be quite honest. So I wanted people to go to this panel. I was so excited about it. So I wanted to make an announcement. They got the permission for me to go ahead and make that announcement. I had not seen the room prior to making this announcement. I had not checked it out. I honestly didn't even know the room number when I made the announcement. But I just said, hey, check the schedule. We're in that room. We're heading there in 15 minutes. Please be there. Come join us. So I do feel a bit of responsibility when we show up to the room and there's no accommodations that we would expect in a typical panel room. Upon realizing that indeed was our room, I asked my narrator friends and my PA to see if there's any way they could maybe ask the event organizer if we could get more accommodations for that room. They were made aware. They said that they would, do what they could. I said, well, let's make do.
Well, this is a narrator panel for A Million Lives. I'm the moderator for this narrator panel. Audiobook narrators are just like a form of being a voice actors.
Best friend voice. I always go for like a valley girl.
They're pretty cool people. Zach's okay, but the rest, we are all pretty cool people. If you guys just want to ask us questions, hit us up on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you find us. Email us from our websites. We're happy to answer questions. And that's it. Thank you. Happy Million Lives.
She has literally nothing to be sorry about. She made the best out of a seriously bad fucking situation. It's not even her event. Like, she shouldn't have to organize anything. In fact, had she not reached out to Grace to moderate or make an announcement, like about the panel starting soon, find the room on the schedule, what would have happened? And then we have the BIPOC panel. Now, I would imagine that someone from that community would be the best moderator, perhaps a fellow author, someone in the book space. Failing that, someone who has experienced running a Q&A or a panel before. But that would be too much to ask for at A Million Lives Book Festival.
And tell me why the BIPOC panel that I was put on. Bestie, tell me why that was moderated by a man. Not in the book space, not an author, but he has a degree in journalism. So I walk into the BIPOC panel. It's a very small room. I'm like, okay, intimate. I get that. So originally it was listed out as a 1 p.m., right? So I'm there at 1 o'clock after lunch. No one is there. And I'm like, okay. I go check the email again, like maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I looked at this wrong. Now it says 1:30. So it's just changing on the fly. And chit chat with the couple of other attendees that are there. And I say couple because there were 2. So there was another panel that didn't have chairs, so at least we had chairs. So I guess I should be happy. So we have chairs. There's no table. So it's just like a row of chairs facing the audience, and then there's 2 or 3 rows of chairs that are the audience facing us. No mic, but whatever. I'm loud. It's a small room. I'm like, alright, this is fine. I am expecting another BIPOC author to come in and moderate this, right? This man that is this color is moderating the BIPOC panel and asking us the same question 17 different ways. He moderated from the back against the doors, looking at his phone.
The moderator was, in fact, Grace, the organizer's husband. Or, as we heard earlier on, cheating husband. I also couldn't find the questions for the BIPOC panel. And then we have the, LBGT panel, the one that's spelt wrong on the fucking schedule. That's crazy. They were told that their moderator for their panel was going to be Victor, a journalist friend of the organizers. And I also had the questions that they were going to be asked thanks to author Sarah Zane. What's the difference between representation and good representation? Do you write from your own lived experiences, or do you explore identities different from your own? How do you navigate that responsibly? Do you feel a pressure to get it right when writing LGBTQ plus characters, especially if you're representing identities other than your own. In genres that have historically excluded LGBTQ plus characters, how do you carve out space for them? Have you ever challenged genre conventions or tropes through the lens of queer identity in your work? What has been your experience with publishing and promoting books featuring LGBTQ plus characters? Have you seen progression in the industry? Have you worked with queer sensitivity readers? How did that impact your work? And what advice would you give to writers who want to include LGBTQ plus characters but are afraid of getting it wrong?
So we were told that the moderator for our panel was going to be Victor, a journalist friend of the organizer. We got there for our LGBTQ plus panel. The panels weren't well advertised. We were told that our panel started at 10:30, but the website said the panel started at 10. We went in and it was just us and a guy in the room. We didn't know the guy. The guy didn't say anything to us. As the LGBTQ panel, we're used to being othered. We're used to not being paid attention to. We're used to not really having people excited about our stuff and excited that we were there. So it meant so much that there were people. There were 2 people there, and it meant a lot that we weren't, sitting there talking to an empty room, because it could have been worse. It could have been just us talking to the other author assistants. If you remember me saying, at the beginning, there was a random man in there. So we were expecting Victor to be there. That was not who was there. This is the man that was there. I don't have a picture of him from there, but this is the man. So I have since found out that this man is Grace's husband. Grace is the organizer of Archer Management. So this man is the husband of the organizer of Archer Management. That would have been fine had he come up to us and introduced himself and explained that, Victor, the journalist, the qualified moderator, couldn't be there for some reason, or, had he said anything. But when I say this man stood in the back of the panel and did not say anything, I am not exaggerating. He did not introduce himself. He did not introduce us. He did not say anything. He never interrupted us to start the panel. Molly over here, she took it on herself to moderate the panel, and she had some questions that we ended up liking better than the questions that we'd been provided with. This man never said anything. He never said, okay, let's get the panel started. He never said, oh, I'm so-and-so. This is why I'm qualified to moderate the panel. Or he never said, hey, do you guys want me to take over? Do you want, he never offered to help. So he stood in the back for roughly 20 minutes while we ran the panel. And then during those 20 minutes, I'd look over every once in a while because it was awkward because he was just kind of standing there. I kept looking over because at this point, I'd still been expecting Victor, so I wasn't sure if this man actually was the moderator or what. I did not really know what his story was. I have since found out that he was supposed to be the moderator and that he is Grace's husband, but I did not know any of that at the time. So I just saw a broody looking man standing in the back, and I do mean broody. He did not look happy to be there, and it was kind of uncomfy. I did not hear his phone ring, but I did see him pick up his phone, hold it to his ear, so I'm assuming he got a phone call, and he left the room, and he never came back.
Nothing like a straight cis man being put in charge of a diversity panel. Now, whilst we're on the subject of diversity and marginalised communities, the lack of effort and disrespect from this man towards the panelists is absolutely fucking disgusting. To not even introduce yourself to the panelists or the audience. To also take a fucking phone call during the panel and just leave everyone and not come back. Watching Sarah's TikTok further, she did do some amazing internet sleuthing and came across a Bible camp that Grace and her husband started a few years ago. There's an article here. I actually can't access the actual article on the website from the UK. I don't have a VPN, so I can't access it. But I'll show you the screenshot from Sarah's video. When you go onto the website of the Bible camp and click on their beliefs, this is what it says. Marriage. We believe God has ordained the institution of marriage, which is a union between one man and one woman. We further believe that God has reserved sexual acts for marriage, so the practice of sex outside of marriage is sin. Sounds like a lot of us are going to hell. Human sexuality. We believe that there are only 2 genders, namely male and female, that God has ordained. We believe that self-conception as male or female should be defined by God's holy purposes in creation and redemption as revealed in Scripture, and that adapting a homosexual or transgender self-conception is sinful rebellion against God. In no way whatsoever should a man with these beliefs be facilitating the LGBTQ plus panel. How could anyone from those communities feel safe in a room with a man like that? Now, I'm not saying that every religious person thinks that way, because that is not the case. I am just assuming this, and this is all alleged because this is just my opinion here. But if you've built a Bible camp for this church, you obviously believe what this church believes. Otherwise, you wouldn't make a Bible camp for them or attend that church or be a part of them or affiliated with them if you did not have these beliefs, in my opinion. And when I was researching a bit more, I also found pictures of both of them dressed in robes from Harry Potter. And I don't know about you, but I'm not wanting to support that J.K. Rowling in any way whatsoever. Loser turf behaviour, rot away in your mouldy Okay, let's discuss the fated Lavender Ball. Like any event that has a ball at the end, it's supposed to be the crown jewel of the festival, the most anticipated event to wrap up an amazing fantasy-filled weekend. An evening celebration with music and dancing, fantasy-inspired fashion, and whimsical decor. But when people arrived, it was an empty room with a few tables, couple of styrofoam petals dotted around, no food except for a dessert table.
Look at all the sports space. So much aerobics in here. So many activities. Pretty girls walk like this. Pretty girls walk like this. All the pretty girls walk like big boss bitch. Pull up in the bed, pull it out my wrist. Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy.
And no music. Actually, that's a lie. There was Steve.
I can't believe that it's finally me and you and you and me, just us and your friend Steve. Do 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 Steve. Do 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 do.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Also, the speaker wasn't even there because of the event organizers. The security at the convention center brought it from home because they felt sorry for everyone. Apparently, the DJ that was booked for the event was in hospital and there was no replacement. If you watch those TikToks, you can see there is zero decoration. There's literally no theme. No effort whatsoever has been put into this. Oh, actually, tell a lie, there was decorations. Hang on. Did you see it? The styrofoam petals? They were right there. Everyone looks so nice though. Like, they look really pretty. Oh, fuck now. You have to remember that people have paid $250 for this ball. There was a bar, not that drinks were included in your $250 ticket. I can't see a theme or dining options or entertainment provided on the website, like nothing. Now during this event, some of the authors had enough. So they approached Grace, the event organizer and director, I guess, of Archer Fantasy Events, telling her she needs to make an apology to everyone and give refunds.
Hi everybody. I am wanting to issue a formal apology. I do understand that the ball tonight was not set up to standards. There were a lot of issues with getting set up and it was not set up well. I want to apologize. If you would like a refund, please contact me and I will issue a refund immediately. Thank you.
Grace doesn't look like she gives a shit, to be honest, from that video. But let me tell you the story behind the apology. Author Kalista Neath confronted Grace at the ball, telling her what an absolute disaster this event had been, and that she needed to apologize and give everyone refunds immediately.
Grace is walking around like everything is fine. And all I can think in my brain is that, were you just hoping no one would show up and you would just like skirt by and get this and get away with this? Is this what the hope was? So at this point, I confront Grace there at the ball. I'm livid, but I'm not screaming, but I'm livid. And I tell her this is not acceptable. You need to issue an apology. You need to refund the readers for coming here and doing this. This is not a ball. This is not what you advertised. You took people's money to come here, and this is not acceptable. I walked away from her because I was heated and I don't want to start cussing her out. So I left. I'm still at the ball. I just left her. Maybe 15 minutes go by. I'm with my group of friends, the trouble row. I'm still in disbelief. I'm still processing. I'm trying to decide what the next steps are with this thing. So she comes back up to me and she tells me that she's apologized, she's issuing refunds. And I was like, great. Where'd you post it? Is it on Instagram or on TikTok? And she's like, I'm just walking around. No, not everyone is here and not everyone will hear you. And quite honestly, I don't believe her. So I tell her to make a post and to tag me in it so I can see it and I can share it with my readers.
So Grace was never going to make this video or offer refunds out of the goodness of her own heart. I feel like had she not been made to address the situation by Calista, she never would have done it off her own back. Remember the bookstore provider, Selena? Well, the books on the tables that you saw, I'll put the footage here again. So the footage of the tables at the Lavender Ball, those books on the table were taken from her table. So then they're not paid for. Not yet anyway. Grace claims in an email that there were 603 tickets sold and only 140 people attended. Literally everyone is demanding proof of this. I was talking to an event producer and they said account for around 10% of no-show, but the amount of people that did not attend after spending that much money. Also apparently she said everyone got COVID. Everyone who didn't attend got COVID, but I couldn't find that. I just saw it in a comment. So throughout this whole event, there has been no tickets or badges or lanyards. I even saw authors say that you didn't know who was an attendee and who was an author at the event because no one had signage on them. That does make me wonder what that table upstairs, what were they doing? What was that even for? Authors have been told that they'll get their attendance fee back, apparently. Although whether it's a full refund or partial, no one is sure. Many are speculating as to whether Archer Fancy Events will even have the money to refund people. However, the refunds were allegedly promised by the end of May, so we'll see. If I hear anything, I will definitely update you. There were multiple comments from authors and guests attending A Million Lives that said that Grace was bad-mouthing or just gossiping about other authors and guests. To mention a few, Molly Likovich, again, I'm so sorry if I got your surname wrong, who is disabled, was told that Grace complained about her to other people, saying that she was terrible and demanding just because Molly wanted to be sure the event was accessible, which is, she has every right to ask that. Percy, Callista, and some others were renegated to the back corner because apparently, allegedly, they were loud, disruptive, and known as the problem children. Let's touch briefly on the tattoo artist, Elva, who attended as well. Elva was another featured vendor who was paid to be at the event. Did she receive any of that payment? Of course not. Side note, anyone who was a featured artist who got paid to be at the event, but as far as I know, none of them actually got the money up front. So no one's actually received any money, as far as I know. So back to the tattoo artist. The red flags were there way before the event, and Elva really did want to pull out, but she already had about 15 bookings. To tattoo at an event, she had some basic requirements like electricity, a wall behind and to the side, kind of keep a clean space that people couldn't just walk through or walk past her while she's tattooing. Upon arriving at the convention center, the space was not what she asked for. Of course it wasn't. No electricity, so she couldn't even charge her battery packs for the tattoo guns or run the design printer for stencils. Luckily, there were authors at the event who had battery packs she could use. Turns out Archer Fancy Events hadn't paid for electricity to be run through the event. Surely Archer Fancy Events have had some success in order for authors, vendors, narrators to even believe that they could put on an amazing event. What's their history? I'll tell you, and it's only been one other event that they put on which was successful. At least it kind of looks like it was. On September the 20th, 2024, a night in Terracin, I think it's called Terracin. It's from, what's it called? Throne of Glass. It was held at the George Peabody Library in Baltimore, and this venue looks absolutely incredible. A complete 180? Is that the word? Is that the phrase? A complete 180 to the scene at A Million Lives Book Festival. But it was this night that gave so many authors and vendors and ticket holders hope. Just looking at the pictures and videos of this night, you would think that Archer Fancy Events can put on an amazing ball or event. Look at it. I mean, it looks amazing. I mean, to be fair, the venue It was really fucking nice. Now, it was really hard to find footage of this night. Aside from there's like one video on Archer Events' TikTok and Instagram page. No like reposts, no one's tagged on their page. Literally the only way I found more footage of that Terracin ball was from the tagged section on Instagram, because even on TikTok there was nothing. Like, no one had tagged Archer Events, no one had tagged like Terracin ball. I literally couldn't find anything aside from the tagged photos or tagged videos on Instagram. Surely, if you've had such an amazing, successful fantasy event, you'd want to share everything, right? Would you not repost? I just don't understand what happened between hosting a night in Terracin to A Million Lives Book Festival. A divorce, perhaps? Funding divorce proceedings? I don't know. That's just speculation. I don't know. I didn't look into it. There have been many crazy conspiracy theories floating around out there as to how and why this happened. The worst was that all of this was just a publicity stunt by the authors to get their names out there. That's pretty far-fetched. Grace, the organizer, actually has a debut book being released on the 7th of June this year. Some people speculate that the money from this event is going towards her publishing costs. Regardless of the wild theories, I'm not sure now is the right time to release your debut book. If she does, I'll keep posted. Also, A Million Lives Book Festival was not the only bookish event that the company had planned for this year. The Elegant Nocturnal Social was planned to go ahead on the 18th of October. Apparently, you can expect a night of sophistication and fun in the beautiful city of Baltimore. It was only announced in September of 2024. Then in November, the tickets were 50% off, and then in December, they were offering 20% off. So, bit of a theme here. And actually, looking at some of the posts, there were a few authors that attended A Million Lives that were meant to be attending the Nocturnal Social too. Luckily, the event is cancelled. Although I don't know if people have paid for a table fee already for that event, which I would assume they have. Not only was this a financial disaster for some of these authors, but it must have been heartbreaking to experience this as a new or indie author. I will include a website below that I think an author made, and it features every single author, vendor, any paid attendee, narrator that was at A Million Lives Book Festival. So if you did want to check anyone out and find yourself some new reading material or buy some fun merch, it's in the description box below for you. Listen, ambition is great, but execution matters. If you're charging attendees and authors to show up, there has to be a minimum standard of professionalism, like communication, planning. This cannot happen again. Seeing event organizers profiting off the book community, taking advantage of people's good nature, and costing many not only potential financial ruin, but also a person's mental health is absolutely disgusting. I just hope everyone gets their refunds and that everyone attending is able to move on from this event and look forward to bigger and better things. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.